when we refresh the page, they're not on screen anymore, but they're still in local storage. So we want to get them back out of there and actually add them back to the page. That sounds hard. So we want to do this right when the page loads, right? So we should put it in init. Init is getting really long, and I suspect this is going to take several steps. So I'm going to make a separate method. We used save to add them to local storage. Let's just call it load to get them back out. In some apps, we might be getting this stuff from an API or something instead of from local storage. But very little here would have to change. We'd only have to change how save and load work. We would call it in all the same places. So again, we're kind of helping ourselves maintain this thing in the future, should we change the details. So let's make sure we call load. So here in init, I will call this .load. And what's it going to do? Just in plain English. We need to load the JSON from local storage. We need to convert the JSON back into an array. And we need to set this dinos with the dinos from that array. Okay, break it down. One thing at a time. How do I load the JSON from local storage? Get item, local storage, get item, dinos. So let's call this dino JSON. Convert the JSON back into an array. How do we do that? JSON stringify, turn something into a JSON string. JSON parse, turns it back into whatever it was. Let's say const dino array. You dig? Set this .dinos with the dinos from that array. That's what I do here. Well, let's try this. This .dinos equals dino array. Are we going to have a problem with this? Nope. We just called this .load. When you call it like that as a method, it does what we expect. Let's see what happens. Refresh. Let's add Sorrysaurus, Pidgeotops, Stegotom. Now those are in local storage. Let's refresh the page. Stegotom, Pidgeotops, Sorrysaurus. Okay, we refresh the page, and we ran load. So app.dinos should have those back again. Okay, there's 5 things in there. There was some more stuff in local storage. But it loaded them from local storage. Cool. but they're not in the list on the page. They're not in the DOM. We got to do all that stuff again. Right? I don't want to write all that stuff again. Maybe we could break add dino into two methods. The stuff that's going to happen, whether the dinosaur came from local storage or the form, we could put in one. And the stuff that only happens, stuff that really only happens that has to do with handling the submit, could go in a different one. So what if we use the name add dino to do this stuff, basically? And all this stuff that's actually related to the event, we could either put in one that we call handle submit, or we could call it add dino from form or something like that. So before we forget, let's go ahead and rename this one. Let's rename our event handler. What do you want to call it? You want to call it something like handle submit, or like add dino from form, or make pancakes? What do you want to call it? Somebody take a stand. Run out of time. Add dino from form. Okay, we renamed it. Don't forget. Change it up here in the event listener. Add dino from form. And then we have another one called just add dino that does the rest of it. So the actual creating the list item, sticking it on the array, syncing with local storage, incrementing the ID, that's not really related to the event. That needs to happen whichever way we do it. Now the reset has to do with the form, so we'll leave that. So I'm going to take all this out, make a note of the fact that I removed some stuff. Throw this in, add dino. So what argument should add dino have? It needs that dinosaur object, right? This thing? Because it refers to that several times. So where we remove this stuff, we will instead call this dot add dino and pass in that dino. So let's see if that much works. Let's see if we broke the form. Refresh. Form still works. Cool. So how can we use this when we load it from local storage? Maybe instead of setting the array directly, we call add dino for everything in the array. Make sense? Then it'll unshift it. It'll add the thing to the list on the page. So if we have an array and we want to call the same method on everything in that array, what can we use? We could loop. What's an easier way? To call a method, call some function on every single item in an array. The same function for every one. We did it the other day. Map. Yeah. So let's say dinoArray.map, and we want to call this dot add dino. Let's try it. Refresh. Explode. This dot render list item is not a function. Here inside add dino. What? What? Well, but look, that's calling the very same method. Add dino. But what? The very same method. This is two different things. What? Inside map, we're not calling add dino ourselves, it's calling it for us. So this isn't getting bound to what we think. So we need to do it explicitly. Bind this. Because it's not getting called as a method, it's getting called as a callback in map. Does that do it? Ah, come on, you. Refresh. All right, now there's a whole bunch of crap. Okay, let's clear that out. Local storage, remove item, dinos. Okay. Refresh. Oh, explode. Cannot read property map of null on line 24. If local storage is empty, I've got a problem. Line 24, I'm calling null.map because dino array isn't an array because there was nothing in local storage. So we better check it first. Let's say if dino array then call map on it. So dino array will be null, and null is a falsy type thing. Some of the things that are falsy in JavaScript: null, undefined, false itself, of course, 0, empty string, empty array, whole bunch of stuff. But an array with stuff in it, that's going to be true. All right, let's try this one more time. Refresh. Okay, no error. Let's add some stuff. T-Rex, Triceratops, Steg. Okay. Refresh the page. They're back in the opposite order. Why? We were adding them to the top, and so we're going through them in order from top to bottom, but then every time we add a new one inside add dino, it gets added to the top of the list. So it's adding them backwards. There are hard ways we could fix this, and there are really, really easy ways we could fix this. What's a really easy way? Did anybody happen to deal with this in the homework? Say again? Yeah. Reverse. Array reverse. So let's just reverse the array before we call map. Dino array.reverse.map. You had to use reverse in one of the Code Wars problems, or two of them. Refresh, and they stay in the same order. Yeah. Now we're loading them from local storage. Load dinos from local storage on page load, on init. Let's see. Yay. All right. We have homework we want to do. I know you do.